Modern commercial aviation operates under a web of constant surveillance. From the moment a jet leaves the tarmac, ground control monitors its altitude, speed, and heading down to the exact degree. On this particular night, the flight protocol went exactly according to plan. The crew completed their required checklists, the passengers settled into the cabin, and the onboard computers established a normal ascent profile. This map shows the aircraft's scheduled path. You can see the flight progressing normally, but mid-journey, the data packet sent from the plane's transponder begins to lag. A few moments later, it drops off the screen entirely. What makes this drop-off chilling is the silence that accompanied it. The cockpit issued no mayday call. The onboard computers triggered 0 automated alerts for sudden altitude loss or equipment malfunction. The data stream simply went flat. We live in a world where a lost smartphone can be tracked to a specific street corner in seconds. Yet a multi-million-dollar airliner, packed with redundant communication arrays, simply ceased to exist on the grid. Our assumption of global, unbroken surveillance is an illusion. Within hours, multiple nations coordinated a massive response. Military aircraft, Coast Guard vessels, and commercial satellite operators focused their lenses on the exact coordinates of that last known transmission. Investigators know exactly what to look for when an aircraft strikes the ocean. Even in severe impacts, buoyant materials like seat cushions and insulation tear loose to create a visible debris field, while jet fuel rises to form massive oil slicks on the surface. Below the surface, they listen for the flight data recorders, commonly known as black boxes. These devices are equipped with underwater locator beacons that emit continuous acoustic pings, high-frequency sonar pulses designed to be detected miles away by specialized listening equipment. Search planes flew grid patterns for weeks, and sonar buoys dropped into the water listened continuously. They found 0 floating debris. They recorded 0 acoustic pings. Aviation experts modeled every conventional failure scenario: a severe structural collapse, a weather-induced stall, or rapid decompression, a sudden loss of cabin pressure, would all generate a distinct scatter pattern of material. The complete lack of physical evidence forced investigators to pivot. Without a fuselage to examine or a black box to decode, they had to reconstruct the failure using only the raw architecture of the global tracking network itself. To understand how a plane hides, you have to look at how it is tracked. Over land, commercial flights communicate constantly with a dense network of air traffic control towers. This map illustrates the reach of primary radar. Primary radar works by bouncing radio waves off the metallic skin of an aircraft to determine its physical position. But these radio waves travel in a straight line, and because the Earth is curved, this system has hard limits, typically extending only a couple hundred miles offshore. Once a flight crosses that boundary, it relies on secondary tracking. The plane's internal systems send intermittent digital pings, or handshakes, up to communication satellites in orbit, logging its engine health and location at hourly intervals. Look at the gaps in this network. These unilluminated zones represent regions where sunlight coverage becomes mathematically sparse. If a plane enters these designated dark zones, ground control receives only fragments of data, separated by long periods of complete silence. Crucially, these satellite links require power and functioning hardware on the aircraft itself. A localized electrical fire in the avionics bay, or someone in the cockpit manually pulling the circuit breakers, severs that link instantly. Our commercial aviation grid relies heavily on continuous cooperation from the aircraft. If that cooperation stops while the plane is over open water, the system's architectural blind spots are large enough to swallow a commercial jet whole. The active search windows closed, the initial deployment of ships returned to port, and the daily press briefings slowed. Days turned into weeks, and eventually the disappearance became a multi-year cold case. The search ultimately bumped up against the physical reality of the ocean floor. We have better topographical maps of the surface of Mars than we do of the deepest oceanic trenches on our own planet. In these regions, the water pressure is high enough to crush standard submersible equipment. The sheer volume of water easily absorbs and scatters low-power electronic signals, burying anything that sinks into it. As technical explanations fell short, investigators had to consider deliberate action. If someone possessed intimate knowledge of both radar limitations and the exact locations of those satellite dark zones, they could intentionally pilot an aircraft into the void, ensuring it would never be found. This wireframe globe displays the thousands of commercial flights currently in the air. Every single one of these routes relies on the exact same tracking architecture, crossing the exact same oceans every single day. The disappearance proved that despite satellites, radar, and constant digital connectivity, a modern aircraft can still vanish entirely. The vast unmapped geography of our planet still outmatches our most advanced technology, leaving the door open for it to happen again.